Good day and welcome back for another week of Talking Technical. And last week we had some nice response of people saying thank you so much. We are learning a lot. And well, of course, for many years now, I think it's now Talking Technical is running now for almost, I think, 16 years. And first we were on the television. We were fortunate to be on Business Day TV, but that has come to an end. But now we're on YouTube, and I hope that you enjoy it here, and I hope that you can still learn with us because after a hobby of, let's say, almost 35 years, we've seen many charts between myself and Christelle. And of course, let's kick off with one of the favorites of the market is Harmony Gold. And that's always the interesting thing. Gold shares are sometimes dogs of the market, and then sometimes they are the favorites of the market. And it looks like that recently that Harmony Gold Mine is one of those star performers. And I know we mentioned it on Talking Technical a few weeks ago as a possible buying opportunity. And boy, oh boy, I mean, it rallied from 66 rands to 93 rand where it's trading now, and it's looking like it's strong. But for me, I'm a little bit nervous, and I always look at the candles, and I always see candlesticks as the informed capital, what they are thinking about the share. Now, first of all, I want to show you this spike in volume, and that spike was on 15 September. And right at the spike, it went up for a few days and then suddenly it came back. But where was the candle that actually told me that something is on the boil here? This little, almost you can say, harami right at the top of this strong bullish candle, that made me a little bit worried that maybe this was a little bit overcooked and the volume spike was maybe positive, but maybe there were some sellers in there. And always keep in mind, when you see a spike in volume, it's either of two things. It's one, either big players are buying or big players are selling. And that's what you've seen. When Harmony reached the top of 86 Rand, it fell all the way back to about 66 Rand. That's almost 20 Rand in one go. But since then, I mean, this share rocketed. Now, first of all, there's a beautiful breakaway gap. I like that. That tells you that the momentum is still up. It's well above the 50-day moving average. That worries me a little bit. Look what happens every time that it's a little bit too far from its 50-day moving average. It usually comes back to that 50-day. And here we're sitting with the same scenario. It actually rallied well above the 50-day moving average. But where's the golden clue for me? Can you see this little gravestone doji right at the top? And after that, you saw this beautiful bullish candle pushing right to the top. In actual fact, it's a shaven top, and that is positive. But there's an Arami again, and that worries me a little bit. This Arami tells me that maybe this candle just told us that everything is just too good to be true. But where will we get nervous? And there you are. Let's just look at that. And if we look at that line there, that is the support, and the support is sitting at 93.64. While it is above 93.64, the momentum is to the top. But what I don't like is I start to see these little upper shadows, and that worries me. So if you've got the share, hold on to it. But below 93.64, things can maybe turn quickly. And if we really see some selling pressure, we can go to 83.79, we can go 81.18, and maybe first of all test that 50-day moving average 77.76. And if things are really turning to be ugly, we can maybe close this little gap. And that gap is between 75.07 and 74.17. So maybe we can still close that gap. Let's have a look at transaction capital. Well, you know, this is that famous share that I told you that my friend that is buying it buys it for his pension because he used all his pension when he was sitting without a job, and he hopes that he can really make up his pension with that. But I've got sad news for all of you, and that is my friend that did do it for his pension unfortunately passed away. It is hard sore. And there's an important lesson in this. Even if you like a share, Even if you hold on to for a share for the long term for your pension, or for a day or for 2 days with a speculation view, when your time is up on earth, the Lord will come and fetch you, and you are in a different place. So, yes, in all memories to my friend, we're seeing higher lows here. I will still look at the share almost in just thinking of you. And the big thing is for all of us, when we've got times like this and we look at shares and we are optimistic about the future, always remember that our time on earth is limited and that there is a time of eternity behind this. And for my friend, all the best. And let's have a look at TCP for the others. Well, there's higher lows here. Everything looks promising for me. But for me, the big thing is that transaction capital must remain above this little level. And that level is above 449. Above 449, the momentum is up. And hopefully we can get to this 50-day moving average. And of course, if we think about it, there's still this massive gap here to the top. And that gap sits between 599 and 690. Let's see. Hopefully, transaction capital can maybe in time to come close this gap. But for the moment, I'm positive, but it must remain above this level of 448. And if you do buy it, remember that's your stop loss, 448. And I can just tell you, if this little dog of the market really starts to kick in and really perform, it can maybe outperform a lot of other shares. But there's also no chance for this little company to go under and then it can go to zero. Let's have a look at the other dog of the market, and that, of course, is Renergen. I can remember when this share was just rallying, and I mean, everything was just so rosy and nothing could change this share. And I mean, it went to 44 Rand, and I just saw all the beautiful things on the news media which say they're making money and all this kind of things. But luckily, I didn't buy it. But what we've seen in the last couple of days, it really took a hiding. In actual fact, some news coming out now that some of the directors sold some shares almost right at the top. Now, how could they do that if the company was doing so well? But okay, let's have a look. That's now past, and we cannot even think about that. But let's have a look here. The share is under pressure here. There you can see this massive bearish candle. It's almost a belt-hold line. But what gives me a little bit hope was this little lower shadow that is pointing out to the bottom. And that lower shadow tells me that there was some very, very brave buyers buying the share between, let's call it 9 Rand and all the way up to 11.98 a day. But what makes me a little bit excited is look at this spike in volume on Monday, the 16th of October. Although this shadow is right to the top and that high of that day was 12 Rand 34, that tells me that a lot of buyers that actually bought in the share in this ugly candle, almost a Marubuzu candle, what could say, it's very negative, bought in this candle, actually locked in some profits because that's where you get this massive higher upper shadow from. But what tells me now is this little candle tells me that there's some guys that still believe that this share can go up. But where is the pivot? The pivot is the top of this candle, and that is 12 Rand 34. After this waterfall formation, and we are trading well below the 50-day moving average, above 12.34, there will be some brave guys saying, wow, the bottom is in. We can maybe nibble it. So if you want to buy the 12.34, I think make use of a stop loss of 10.85. That is the low of this candle. It's a little bit of a big stop loss. It's almost a Rand stop loss. So definitely in that case, don't sell your farm. Don't sell your house to buy Renergen. If you buy some few shares and stick to your stop loss. And boy, oh boy, we talked about transaction capital, and we are talking now about Renergen. If those two shares must turn around, they can outperform a lot of portfolios. But always remember, only nibble in those shares, never buy too big, because you can burn your fingers if things are really turning upside down. Well, thank you for watching the show. Visit our website, www.fransdeklerk.com, for more info. And as always, We'll chat again.